Okay, we are recording. Hello, Barbara,
Hello, David.
and welcome to. I don't know how many years we've been talking for 16 years. I don't know how many of those we've actually devoted to Global Entrepreneurship Week. A lot of them, probably the last 10 years.
Hmm.
And you and I have to be the longest supporters online to tell the world about Global Entrepreneurship Week. Actually, real quickly, it's changed dramatically since I was in the very first partner program in 2010 that Kauffman Foundation had, and I went
Hmm.
out to Kansas City. I've been to the foundation. I don't have I told you this? I've been
Yes.
to, yeah, a couple
Yeah.
times. Well,
Hmm.
it was very. I mean, we had plans and we knew 2 months ahead of time when it was going to be, and we started planning for it and setting things up, and all of that has disappeared. But what I have found, and I know you had something in Big Ideas for Small Business 2 days ago that you did an update on Global Entrepreneurship Week, and it's become more global function and less United States, really. In
I
the
think so. I think so. Yeah, because we have our own small business week and other. We have our own, Women Entrepreneurship Week and all kinds of other events, and they all compete. So yeah.
I will offline. I will tell you what my plans are for Small Business Week.
Right.
Actually, the last day of Small Business Week is my 75th birthday. How about that?
That's pretty good.
It just worked out that way. The way it felt. So
Good way to celebrate.
uh, let's talk about this entrepreneurship thing for a moment. Now, a little known fact about you is that you went to law school,
Yeah.
and I
I
actually
practice law. Yeah.
okay. Well, and was your intent in going? So you actually have practiced law before you're doing what you're doing now?
Yeah, what I did was I practiced law for many years, and my clients were small business owners. So I helped them form businesses. I helped them with buy-sell agreements and succession planning. And when I decided to pack it in, that was kind of the idea because the clients all asked the same questions, and I had the answers, and I thought it was a great segue into a
And
business.
I've been over my lifetime. Listen to our customers, our clients.
Right.
They tell us what they need. They tell
Hmm.
us how to do it. And well, they don't make it easy necessarily for us, but at least that's what it's all about. Well, it was a great thing for you. I mean, now you are the Bible. It's what's Barbara's what are the okay. Before we actually talk about the book a little bit, I wanted to go back to the conversation you and I had about 2 months ago, where I asked you to in what's Barbara's top 10 list for business challenges for 2024. I'd like to revisit that list again, but
I
this time,
don't remember
no,
it.
no,
You'll
I
have
got,
to
I got
try
it.
me.
I've got,
Okay.
I got it.
All
I'm
right.
not gonna let you. I got your back.
All right.
But this time, if there is a tax law or a tax change or something along those lines in these challenges, stop and talk about it. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. And these are in no priority order. Uh, Number one on your list was handling inflationary pressure on pricing.
Yeah, you know what? I heard today that that some prices have actually come down. Butter, fuel, the gasoline. So that's interesting because we expect prices to go up and never come down. But I think for business owners, the bottom line is to look at what your prices are going forward. Look at what your fees are going to be going forward. I think many people who charge for their services are reluctant to raise prices. They feel that their client base will be turned off. But I think we have to be realistic and factor in all our higher costs. So if we have higher insurance costs or higher payroll costs, we have to raise our prices to maintain our profit margins.
I heard a news commentary yesterday, and the individual said that folks have not slowed down their spending, but obviously with things costing more, they're more discreet about how they're doing their buying, and they much more intelligent buys, which then puts the burden back on us marketing and salespeople to to deliver the message. But
Absolutely.
I've definitely I have felt the pinch in my sector a little bit, but we got last year Social Security got a 8.3% raise. I think last year was the biggest raise I think in the history of Social.
But this year, not so much.
3%, or plus or minus.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it is what it is. Okay, number two, and this is a real tricky one, getting very challenging. Finding employees.
Yeah, the latest NFIB report said that 43% of small business owners reported they have unfilled positions. That's unbelievable. And I think there are many reasons why this is so. I mean, it's very hard for small businesses to compete with large companies that can afford to pay more, offer more benefits. So I think the challenge for small business owners is to figure out how we can compete in the workplace to attract and retain good employees. And some of that are intangibles that doesn't hit our budget at all, such as just having a good company culture and a good mission. A lot of employees want to work for a good company, and offering flexible work arrangements, allowing employees to work at home some or all of the time. So these are things that don't really cost the company anything, but can be a valuable tool in attracting and retaining employees.
Opinion question: with the small businesses having unfilled positions, do you feel that many of them are going to pare back, become more efficient, and maybe not need employees, in the future? Could that happen?
AI. Do I need to say any more? It's just, if you look at businesses that are employing kiosks and other look, just think about the number of stores that have been installing the self-checkout. They don't need a checkout person anymore. The restaurants that are using the tablets that people can just put their orders on, so they just need people to deliver the food to the table. So I think we're going to see more and more of this, and pretty quickly.
Which then, does that make it an opportunity for folks starting a business to look at some of those things where people are paring back? Well, I guess it's the same thing. We don't know. We have a passion of something that we want to do. We do our research to see if it's going to work. We do some testing. I don't know. My business model has. Well, I'm fortunate because I've been a solopreneur most of my life, one person. So when I need something done, I go outside in a third party. I buy it from a third party. So my analysis isn't really, I mean, it's not, it's me, and a lot of folks don't do it the way that I've done it, be that as it may. But as we are looking at our business and defining, when you're small, you can go with the flow. I mean, you can change.
More flexible and right.
And let me tell you what I did yesterday in honor of Global Entrepreneurship Week. I did something I've always wanted to do. I set up a GoFundMe.
To raise money to do what?
For the Celebrate Business Project. And here's how you can make the Celebrate Business Project, my project, come to your community. And everybody that makes a commitment, I will create a video with them, a 10-minute video that they can use, and I'll give them the URL that I create, so they're getting something for being a part of it. So it's something I just came up with, and that's where the Celebrate Business project is going. Well, that's one direction. That's one direction we're going. Okay, here's one, and the understanding new tax rules. Well, there's only one way to understand them: buy the book, right?
Well, the book has just a mention about the book. So J.K. Lasser's Small Business Taxes 2024 is for preparing 2023 returns and planning for 2024. And it has all the rules that we know to date. Of course, Congress isn't finished yet, and we know that there may be more rules or rule changes, and there's a free supplement that comes out in February to update all the information. The point of the book for most small businesses, I don't remember the percentages, but it's over 90% of small business owners use prepaid preparers to do their returns. But the point of the book is to make sure that you understand what taxes are, so you can make tax savvy decisions through all the time. You don't call up your preparer every minute and say, should I use an employee or hire an independent contractor? Should I buy or lease the car? You want to know what the ramifications are. And that's kind of what the business explains. And also it helps you ask better questions of your tax advisor. So you're saving money. You're not paying it.
You set me up for a story I want to share, that you were responsible for a major thing that I did in my life. And it was about, I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago. And we were talking about software and accounting, and that was the discussion. And somehow you said something. That year, I bought some software. Probably that year I paid $35 for it. And I went through and I prepared my own, not to do it and be official, but to understand my business on a line by line basis. And you were the one that motivated me to do, and it was the greatest exercise that I've ever gone through. Because and that particular year when I went and did my tax return, I took to my tax preparer what I had done, and he audited what I had done. So my fee to him that year was an hourly fee, and he loved it. He had no problem with that. I think he said, I could work with more folks if they did the same thing. But thank you for doing that, because I learned on a line by line basis. So you make the adjustments, you see what you need to do, and then read the book and it tells you how to do it. Okay. Complying with the new business owner registration requirement. That's a biggie. That's a biggie. Business information ownership reporting is something that you have to do with the Treasury in 2024 if you are a corporation, CRS, if you are a limited liability company, or any other kind of entity that you register with the state. So you don't have to do it if you're a sole proprietor. You don't have to do it if you are an independent contractor. But if you are a kind of entity that registers with the state and you're not exempt, there are 23 exemptions, one of which is for businesses with $5 million and more than a certain number of employees, $5 million in revenue and a certain number of employees. So basically, this is for small businesses. If you're a larger business, you're not going to be subject to this reporting. But what it means is just disclosing who the beneficial owners are. If you have substantial control or a certain percentage of ownership of the business, you have to give the Treasury your name, address, and other information. It's a one-time thing, but you have to do it in a timely manner. So if you already organized, if you're already in an operation in 2023, you have all of 2024 to do this. If you're starting a new business, let's say you form a new LLC, you have, usually it would be 30 days, but the Treasury decided to give you 90 days in 2024. So you have 90 days from the time that you get notice that you're official in the state to do this. And you also have to do it if there's a change in beneficial ownership. So you got to watch this. And if you fail to do it,
I mean, it's not hard to do. It's not like you have to make any computations or anything. You go to the FinCEN website, which is part of the Treasury, and there's going to be a portal just for this purpose, which is not operational as far as I can tell yet. But if you don't do it, the penalties can be really severe, including imprisonment. I mean, like it's like unbelievable.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you to do a favor for me. In 2024, anytime that we're talking, remind me or ask me, did I call?
Have you done your BOI reporting?
I have to. Well, I'm a one person operation, but I have an LLC.
Then you have to report for the LLC, and I have an S corporation, and I have to report for that.
Difference. You just brought up a new question. Difference between an S corporation and an LLC.
They're different in a lot of ways. They both offer personal liability protection, meaning that your personal assets can't be claimed by a debtor, by a creditor if you fail to pay or you get sued or whatever. Your house and that stuff is all protected. But from a tax perspective, they're considerably different, because an LLC, generally you can make elections and change this, but generally you're not an employee of your business, and how you take distributions from the company and how you report for Social Security and Medicare taxes is different than if you have an S corporation where you're an employee, if you work for the business, and you have FICA and withholding and all that. And in terms of reporting, they're both pass-throughs, but a lot of different rules. All right, I'm not going to make your head explode.
No, I'm laughing. I've got to change. I've got to change my behavior tremendously, because I'm going to be generating revenue, and when you generate revenue, that's when folks want to know what's going on. That's when it's important. So I have to get back into it this year. So good CPA. Would you like to do my my?
No, I don't do returns anymore.
Okay. Using AI and other technologies, we could talk about that. Wow, I'm having so much.
I think we touched on that. Yeah, you got to do it.
I'm now claiming if it's not right, I'm saying it's artificial intelligence. I didn't do it. Blame them.
Good excuse.
Well, and we made the point very clear. You and I write and communicate with the written word to folks. So we don't want artificial intelligence driving our writing.
But I will tell you that I use Chat GPT not to write my material
as a checklist,
as a reminder. It's just another research tool, just like Googling something. It's the same thing.
How much new information do you think you might be sharing by using that? 10% more information?
Yeah, probably not a dramatic amount, but but it's just like that. If I'm looking for 10 things, maybe I'll think of 9, and that'll think of, and I'll get the 10th one through that.
Well, then it's a must tool it's a helpful tool then.
It's a very helpful tool, but it's just a tool. It's not it doesn't replace.
Oh, it doesn't replace.
And also that you have to verify whatever it is, that it's not necessarily absolutely trustworthy.
Well, people don't really understand it, but we have been under artificial intelligence for a long time. It just wasn't called artificial intelligence. What I am finding now, when I write when I do a Google Doc, it is employing artificial intelligence to that doc. I mean, I'm not even asking for it. It's doing it. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Well, then we become editors. We're not writers anymore. We're editors. Okay. Adapting. Well, we talked a little bit about it. Adapting to changing workplace practices, arrangements, hours, benefits. You touched on that earlier. Staying up on federal, state, and local regulations.
Oh my gosh! I mean, just think about minimum wage changes that are going to take effect on January 1. And all the new laws that go into effect on January 1. I mean, it could be daunting just to stay up on everything.
once again, buy the book and talk and find a CPA that knows how to use the book. Okay, arranging for additional financing.
Yeah, small businesses right now are having a tough time if they need to borrow money. But I think that small businesses can get creative and find ways to get the money that they need if they need it. I think the point about borrowing money, I think small businesses should try to minimize what they need to borrow. Interest expense, it's a cost to repay what you borrow, and you kind of become subject to rising interest rates if you're borrowing. So interest costs right now are pretty high. I think the best thing that you could do is, if your business is in good shape, is to obtain a line of credit if you need it, so that you can have it there if you need it and you can tap into it. The other thing is just to kind of build up, a war chest, if you will. It's very hard for small businesses to do this because there are so many demands on your money, whether it's estimated taxes or fees and higher wages and all that stuff. But I think, like, being old school, savings is kind of a good approach if you can, because even a little amount can be just that pot that's available on that rainy day.
Actually, we're supposed to get our first rainy day tomorrow in a long.
Well, we're in very bad storms right now. So
really, and
yeah, my cousin's a couple of hours south. They lost power. They had gusts of 80 miles an hour last night.
So are you mid Florida coast or?
I'm mid. Yeah, I'm mid.
But and how close to the coast? You're close to the coast?
I can walk across the street to the ocean. Yes.
Oh, wow. Well, good luck. Affording new equipment, vehicles, and machinery.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts here because we have a lot of green energy incentives that trying to shoehorn you into buying EVs and because of the tax breaks that you're going to get. But you have to really think, is it appropriate for your business to do? Do you need it? Is it something appropriate for your business? Where are you going to charge it? What's the insurance? The insurance likely is higher for an EV than a gas powered vehicle. And should you buy? Should you lease? These are all things that you have to be thinking about.
Oh, I love number 10, making sales.
Yeah, that's always, we kind of forget about
we
that.
all have that challenge, don't we?
Yeah, we forget that that's why we're in business, and without sales, we're not in business. So, yeah, I think how we approach our selling is going to be important. I think a lot of clients now are looking for that kind of personal engagement and hand holding and I think it's going to be more challenging going forward. It's always hard, but
I love challenges.
Okay.
And if they want a great creative marketing and sales strategy, we know who to call. I should buy some advertising in your book and promote my services. Okay, let's get into the book. Other than the obvious that there's new laws and you're going to reflect, well, why don't you tell a little bit about the structure of the book, and then I want to share how I use the book, because I use it as a learning tool, not as not so much how do I do my taxes on that item, because somebody else, but I learned from it. So why don't you, in your mind, or to share how you structured the book, and is it something different about 2024 or whatever?
Well, it starts off with some basics. So choosing your entity type and the different tax ramifications of your choice. It goes into how to report for your accounting method, cash method versus accrual, and your tax year. Are you on a fiscal year or a calendar year? I would say most small businesses are cash based, and most small businesses are on a calendar year, the vast majority. But there are those that aren't. So I put that in. And then I talk about record keeping. And record keeping is probably the most boring subject. But if you read the cases that come through every day, like I do, every case, no deduction, lack of substantiation, no deduction, didn't prove it because you had no records. I mean, that's like the biggie. And today there's no excuse for that.
For a second, hasn't technology made that
Exactly. You would think how easy it is to use an app to track your car mileage. I mean, it's a no-brainer. And yet businesses are not doing it. They're not even using accounting systems like QuickBooks, or there are even easier ones to use. And so they're not properly recording their income and expenses. They're not tracking their time when it's important to track their time. There's certain provisions where you have to know that. And basically, I point out there are special substantiation rules for certain things, like charitable contributions and travel and meal costs. And so again, you have to know what record keeping is all about, and I can't emphasize it enough. And I include some of the tricks you can use to minimize your record keeping. Then the next section is all about business income. And you can have business income and losses in many different ways, and there are many limitations on losses, and could go on and on about that. And then the next section is just about write-offs, all the deductions and the tax credits, and they're organized by topics. So compensation, your car, your retirement plans, medical, home office deductions, and such. So that's how it goes. And then the next section is basically planning, all the planning that you can do with if you have multiple businesses, if you have a sideline business, if you have businesses across state lines, if you want to plan for a retirement, or how to take distributions, and how to work with your tax advisor, and how to select the right tax advisor. And there's a lot in the book. It's a big book.
One of the great. Well, let me tell you how I read the book. Because there are millions of people that should be reading this book for reasons that I know what's going. I mean, the solopreneur, and you taught me this. One year you said to me, the IRS frowns upon somebody that doesn't report income or has greater expenses and owes no taxes. If you do it 3 years in a row, it's a small business. It's a red flag because it might be a hobby and not a.
Yes.
And should be, you're calling it a business. So
yeah. Not, you got it sort of right, but close enough. Basically, depending on the kind of activity involved and what's involved. If you have a loss, the IRS is going to look twice on it.
But what you do that's of great help to folks that are learning, you have examples of what you're saying. You have a lot of notes in the columns and case studies. So, but the way that I read most business books, and specifically this one, I go to the table of contents. Okay, so it tells me, well, you just went through your table of contents. Then I go right to the keyword index, because if I have something specific, then where does Barbara talk about it? Where do I find it? So that to me is my how I read a book, by the topics and the things that are mentioned. I lost my thought of
how you use the book.
And then the most important thing is the book is always in arm's reach of me where I sit. And the reason is if I want to take a break, if I want to stop what I'm doing and move in another direction, I take the book and I open it up, and I have learned something new every single time I've done that. Well, because I don't have the academics and a lot of the experience, uh, and it's a great way to learn. And I guarantee, and I'll even make a claim: if somebody picks up 2024 and they can't learn something new, or they don't get the return on the investment that they think they should be getting because they bought the book, contact me and we will work it out. I'm going to do that.
Wow, I'm going to tell my publisher that.
You know what? I have no problem with you telling your publisher that. Well, because I stress value, and there can't be anything more valuable running a business, owning a business, than your book. Is there a more valuable? I mean, the SBA has a 4,000-page website, so you can use the SBA website. But doesn't the SBA come to you for information?
I used to be until COVID. For 10 years, I was a guest blogger for the SBA. Yep.
Oh, so you are the artificial intelligence that we are now reading.
I'm not artificial.
It's amazing. I mean, like you said, businesses can become more efficient, and every business wants to run as efficiently as they possibly can.
Yes, absolutely.
So they can stay in business.
Absolutely.
And that's where AI is going to, but I am seeing the worst case scenarios of AI in customer care. And it's the wild, wild west out there, how folks are using the big folks. I'm talking about the cell phone companies, and folks that we have to deal with are using artificial intelligence to drive customer care, and they're going to lose. They're not going to win that, because we, the customers, want to have interaction. We want to have somebody be accountable for the answer to the question that we have, and we're losing that. We're losing it, and that scares me. Well, it shouldn't scare me. I don't. It scares my grandchildren. So, well, it's when the book comes out, you promise to come back and release the book.
Okay.
You're probably going to release it when it needs to get released.
Right.
But we'll tell us, and that'll be, you say, in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, the book is scheduled to release on November 30th. That's what Amazon is saying.
Oh.
So.
Is Amazon the only store?
No, it's on bookshelves and bookstores.
Oh, I know it's on
bookshelves. All over.
I have bought it off of bookshelves.
Yeah, it's all over. Yeah.
Oh, and I'm going to put my order in for your autographed copy and signed and dated for 2024.
All right.
Want me to read what you said in 2023?
No, that's between us.
Well, thank you. As always, it's wonderful to get the information that we need in our businesses, and nobody knows that story better than Barbara Weltman. And thank you for all these years that we've been live streaming information. You're the best.
Can I just mention something that we've talked about this before, but I have an idea of the day.
Sure.
That I put out every day.
Oh, yes.
And the thing about that is that's my quickest way to inform when something new happens. So something new happens in tax law that's not in the book, I'm going to have it as an idea of the day. So it just sign up at my website, bigideasforsmallbusiness.com.
I apologize for not mentioning.
No, you always say it, so I'm just anticipating.
I'll say this about it's Big Ideas for Small Business. I have an archive of probably in the 90s of all the ones that you have done for the last 16 years.
Yeah, I've been doing it a long time.
No, that's how long you and I have been communicating.
Yeah.
I archive them, and so when I do a search of what I've got in my archive. You know how many times your name comes up all the time, as search engines ought to do on these topics, shouldn't they?
Well, that's good.
Well, thank you, and we'll get back together in 2 weeks.
Sounds good.
Okay. Have a good day.
Okay, you too.